لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أنبياء الله جميعا وعلى سيدهم وخاتمهم حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين سيما سيدنا ومولانا الإمام الحجة بن الحسن المهدي المنتظر عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. And congratulations on the Eid al-Mubahala. Today is the 24th of the Hijjah, an event that took place during the life of the Prophet. I will reflect on it tomorrow, inshallah, during the Friday sermon. And that event is called the Mubahala, when the Muslims and the Christian came face to face, and I will speak about it, inshallah. Tomorrow. It's mentioned in chapter 3, Surah Al-Imran. But tonight, inshallah, we reflect on two verses, and I will read them first. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فكلوا مما رزقكم الله حلالا طيبا واشكروا نعمة الله إن كنتم إياه تعبدون إنما حرم عليكم الميتة والدم ولحم الخنزير وما أهل لغير الله به فمن اضطر غير باغ ولا عاد فإن الله غفور رحيم ولا تقولوا لما تصف ألسنتكم الكذب هذا حلال وهذا حرام لتفتروا على الله الكذب إن الذين يفترون على الله الكذب لا يفلحون متاع قليل ولهم عذاب أليم وعلى الذين هادوا حرمنا ما قصصنا عليك من قبل وما ظلمناهم ولكن كانوا أنفسهم يظلمون صدق الله العلي العظيم. So the previous verse before that, which is 1:13 and 1:12, spoke about how some communities who have been blessed with the numerous gifts and blessings and bounties from God, but they did not appreciate them and they did not give thanks. Giving thanks is a virtue. To be able to say this word, which comes from your heart, not just your mouth, but your heart too, to say thank you. Thank you to people and thank you to God. It's a virtue by itself, because some people cannot say thank you. Some people have sense of entitlement to everything. They think they deserve everything. They think that, his wife should and must serve him. Her husband should and must serve her. the country should and must give him. People should be, supportive and helpful and reach out to him or her. This is not nice, to have this sense of entitlement to everything with everyone. It's not good. And therefore many people do not give thanks. Says, why should I thank? This is my right. I'm taking my right. He's not doing me a favor. Even if you think this is your right, God says you have to be thankful. You have to appreciate. And you must appreciate people before appreciating God. من لم يشكر المخلوق لم يشكر الخالق. A person who is unable to say thank you to people will be unable to say thank you to God too. The journey begins with people around you. People who you see, you are watching them, serving you, you don't tell them thank you, definitely you are not going to say thank you to God that you are not seeing Him. People who are between you and them 2 feet and you are not telling them thank you. How can you say thank you to God? One of the titles in the Quran of many prophets, كان شاكرا لأنعم الله. He was thankful to God's blessings and bounties. Not just during a Thanksgiving season. Every single day we are indebted to people around us, people who live around us. We have to thank them, we have to appreciate them. So these communities, they did not appreciate, they were not thankful, and instead what they did, فَكَفَرَتْ بِأَنْعُمِ اللَّهِ. They were ungrateful to God's blessings. So the result is that they lost. They lived in fear and hunger. And these are the worst 2 things a person may suffer. Fear and hunger. So here in 114, God says, فَكُلُوا. Therefore, so eat. فَكُلُوا مِمَّا رَزَقَكُمُ اللَّهِ. So eat of the lawful and good things God has provided you. فَكُلُوا مِمَّا رَزَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ حَلَالًا طَيِّبًا. 2 words here, 2 golden words. One is halal and the second is tayyib. What is halal? What's the difference between halal and tayyib? Are they the same or different? They are different. Halal is that the food is not like the dead meat, the carrion, the dead flesh of an animal, meat. Or it's not the swine, the flesh of the swine, khinzir. Or it is not wine or alcohol. It's not. So this means halal. The food is halal. Tayyib means something else. Tayyib means this food belongs to you, does not belong to someone else. Does not belong to someone else. You purchase this food from your money, not someone else's money. You are not devouring and eating someone else's wealth or money. You purchase this food that you are eating and giving to your kids to eat from a halal source. Tayyib, what is the opposite of tayyib? Khabith. Tayyib is good, khabith is what? Evil. So sometimes the meat you are buying from the market is halal meat, zabiha as they say. Halal chicken, halal meat. But the money is not yours. The money is unlawful money. So this food is not going to be tayyib. It's not going to be good. فَكُلُوا مِمَّا رَزَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ حَلَالًا طَيِّبًا. Learn from other communities learn a lesson. Communities who perished because they did not give thanks to God. They were ungrateful. They had sense of entitlement. They never said, "Oh God, thank you, you've been giving me for 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. Never, ever. Not only that, as I mentioned last week, what they did with the food, the extra food. They cleaned themselves with extra food. They consider the food like a tissue, toilet tissue. They clean. Look at the arrogance. Look at the arrogance. And still now there are some families and nations who dump the food in the trash and they never give it to people who are hungry, people who deserve it. This is another type of arrogance. The second, God says, eat only halal and tayyib, lawful and good. Do not eat the haram, which is the unlawful, and the khabith, which is not good, the evil. What are the food that are not halal to eat? I just mentioned some of them. Number one is what? Number one is the non-dhabiha, the food which is mita. Mita, the name of it is mita, is the food of a dead animal, the meat of the dead animal, the carrion, the meat of the dead animal that has not been slaughtered. And there are reasons, two reasons for that. One is biological, physical reason, medical reason. The second is spiritual reason. The food which is not dhabiha, is not slaughtered, the blood is going to stay in the veins. So when you eat that meat is contaminated with the blood. And the worst type of contamination today is the contamination of what? The blood. According to the Islamic rules, the animal has to be slaughtered. All the veins are cut off, separated, and a considerable amount of the blood has to discharge from the body. They leave the animal, either they hang the animal or they leave it until a good amount of blood leaves the body. Does not stay. If it stays in the body of the animal, it's a source of contamination, number one. Number two, the meat, does it taste good or not? Doesn't taste good. I know some non-Muslims who tell me, we eat dhabiha, not because we believe in Islam. No, we eat for health reason, because the meat, which is dhabiha, slaughtered according to Islamic, it tastes better, tastes good. So this is the health reason. The spiritual reason is that the animal, when we slaughter the animal, we have to dedicate this animal for the sake of God, not for the sake of anyone. In the past, during the time of the Prophet, the Arabs, the pagans in the Arabian Peninsula and elsewhere, they would slaughter the sheep, the cow, the animal, and dedicate that to their idols. Dedicate this animal to their idols. God came and said, the animal has to be only dedicated to God. Do not eat, in Surah Al-An'am. Surah Al-An'am, verse 119 and 121, two verses in one chapter, says, don't eat the meat where the name of God has not been mentioned during slaughtering. Don't eat. وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا لَمْ يُذْكَرِ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ. For a spiritual reason, moral reason. The animal which is dedicated to other than God, don't eat it. So the name of God has to be mentioned during The slaughtering, not during eating the food. Eating the food, definitely you should mention the name of God. Begin with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Every bite. Either with every bite say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, or say in the beginning of your meal, say Bismillah ala al-awwali wal-akhir. I mention the name of God in the beginning and at the end. But then, most importantly, the name of God has to be mentioned during when you slaughter the animal. Not when you barbecue it, too late. When you slaughter it. Now, we have an important question. Many people in Iraq and Iran and Lebanon and Shia Muslim communities, they take the sheep, they make nadhr, that I do nadhr this sheep, this animal for Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, for Imam Hussein, for Imam Rida, for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, for Imam Ali. I've seen it. I lived in a religious city. People bring herds of sheep with them to the shrine of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. They say this is nadhr to Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas because we asked him in the past to find me a wife. He found me, alhamdulillah. This is my wife with the sheep. She's run, He found me a good wife. He found me a good husband. He found me a car, a job, a house, health, this, that. And now I'm fulfilling my vow, my nadhr. So I'm bringing the sheep. Is this okay to dedicate the sheep, the animal, to Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas to make nadhr? In the Pakistani Indian community, when you go to their centers, they say niyaz, nazr. Iranian, they say nazr. The Arabs, they say nadhr. The Americans say vow. Is it okay? I'm asking a question. No, it's not okay. It's not okay. It's not allowed. You must say, I am dedicating, vowing this animal for the sake of Allah. My nadhr is for the sake of Allah. However, the reward of it, thawab, goes to the soul of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, Imam Hussein, the Prophet, Imam al-Rida, this Imam and that Imam. Otherwise, you cannot vow anything to other than God. Nadhr, the vow, has to be only for Allah. Only for Allah. And then you ask Allah, Allah, I am vowing and dedicating this animal to you, and I ask you, kindly, humbly, I plead to you that the thawab of this, when people eat, the reward goes to the soul of this Imam and that Imam. Otherwise, you don't do nadhr for directly Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. This is wrong. People do not know. 90%, 99.9% of the Shia Muslims, they don't know. This is not allowed. This is illegal. You don't do nadhr to Abu al-Fadl, nadhr to Imam Hussein, nadhr to Imam al-Rida. You do nadhr to Allah, the reward goes to those Imams. This is the difference. Same thing with tawassul. When you go to the haram of Imam Hussein, or Amir al-Mu'mineen, or the Prophet, okay, or Imam al-Rida, and you stand in front of the shrine, do you ask the Imam immediately for help? How do you ask? How do you do the tawassul? You ask Allah for the sake of this Imam. Because I know you love this Imam. This Imam is your servant. This Imam is your favorite. And this is exactly what is mentioned in this book. When Adam was in trouble, when he was ousted out of paradise, he committed a sin. وَعَصَى. God says in this book, وَعَصَى آدَمُ رَبَّهُ فَغَوَى. He disobeyed his Lord, رَبَّهُ فَغَوَى. He was misguided. So God said to him, I teach you. He said, how can I come back to you? Because there is no precedence before him. There is no module that he looks at it. No human being before him. So he asked God, God, what do you want me to do? Teach me. God said to him, فَتَلَقَّى, this is in this book. فَتَلَقَّى آدَمُ مِنْ رَبِّهِ كَلِمَاتٍ فَتَابَ عَلَيْهِ. God taught him words. He received تلقى, he received words from God. He uttered these words. God accepted his apology and forgave him. Look at the tafsir of this Quran, the books. What were these words? What did he say? God taught him to say, "O Allah, I am asking you for the sake of Muhammad wa Ali wa Fatima wa Hassan wa Hussein to forgive my sins. إني أسألك بمحمد وعلي وفاطمة والحسن والحسين إلا ما غفرت لي ذنبي." This is tawassul. But he asked God. So when you go to the Imam, you ask God for the sake of those leaders. This is the right way of tawassul. Remember always, when you go to the holy shrine, this is the right way. So here God is saying, these are things that you have to stay away from them. Why? Because when you eat food which is number one, non-halal, number two, khabith, not tayyib, not good, but evil food, what will happen to you? You might not go to the hospital. You might enjoy this double burger, very delicious, and you drink Coke with it, and you go on sleep, and you enjoy it. But it's not about that. Some people said, I ate haram, nothing happened to me, I didn't die. No, God is not saying you're going to die. Your body is not going to die. Your stomach is not going to die. Your spirit and your soul is going to die. It has an effect on your manners, on your akhlaq, on your soul. How? Show me. How does it affect my soul? How does it affect? The hadith says, when you keep eating the haram food, you are weakening your spiritual immunity. What does that mean? It means when you see something illegal, you may do it. Nothing is going to stop you from doing something illegal. Committing sins is going to be easy. Easy for you. No barrier. Why? Because the command and control center is dead. It's not working. It's not working. We have command and control center. It's called the soul, nafs. وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. This soul is a sensor inside you. When there is a sin, the soul is going to tell you, this is a sin. Be careful. Don't say this. Don't do this. Don't practice this. If that sensor is dead, not working, the battery is over. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. The hadith says because a person keeps eating haram, when he keeps eating haram, then the soul is damaged. Maybe he's healthy, he's gaining weight, mashallah, his muscles are powerful, But the spirit is damaged. The soul is damaged. So it has a huge effect in the long term. Stay away from haram. Stay away from the money. Don't use a stolen money, a money that does not belong to you. Don't purchase food with it. Don't feed your kids with that food. And the verse again says, وَاشْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ. فَكُلُوا, eat from what God has provided you, the lawful and the good things, the good food. But then at the same time, and give thanks for the blessings of God. وَاشْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ إِن كُنْتُمْ إِيَّاهُ تَعْبُدُونَ. If it is He whom you worship. When you eat good, you're going to worship good. When you don't eat the halal food, you are not going to worship. You are not going to give thanks to God. You are not going to give thanks to God. Musa alayhi salam, you know, we have many stories of other prophets in our Islamic tradition. If you open books of hadith, Islamic books of hadith, you see stories of Moses, story of Jesus, story of Ibrahim, story of Noah, story of other, Sulaiman, Yusuf, Dawood, Yaqub. Their stories, we use them in our tradition. So one of the stories about Musa alayhi salam, he used to make a weekly journey, almost weekly, to speak with God. Where was that? In what location? In a desert called Sinai Desert, which belongs to Egypt now. And in a mountain called what? Tur. Mount Tur in that desert. So he used to go and speak to God. He climbs the mountain. One day on his way to meet the Lord, he passed by two monasteries. Monasteries means there is a priest who lives there. He has no wife, no children, nothing, you know. He cut off himself from the worldly affairs. He survives on little food, little drink, and he spends his entire time worshipping. This was the tradition through Judaism and Christianity. But when Islam came, Islam said, no more. وَرَهْبَانِيَّةً مَا كَتَبْنَاهَا عَلَيْهِمْ. We don't accept this. We want people to be in the society, to be productive, to be working. What does it mean you go to the mountain and lock yourself in a cave and worship God? God does not. God says, show me you're worshiping when you help each other in the society, when you help your wife, your husband, your kids, your neighbors. So it does not exist in Islam. These things, this tradition existed in Judaism and Christianity. So Musa passed by the first monk in this monastery, and at that he found him worshipping. Then this monk took a break. It was the lunchtime, and he had an apple, California's apple. So he ate the apple by himself. He did not say to Musa, tafaddal, share with me. Musa was sitting there and just watching him, and this guy was enjoying this apple. Musa left, came to the next monastery. There was another monk worshipping. So he went inside. When that monk took a break, again he had another apple. He cut that into pieces, two pieces. He gave one half to Musa and the other half to himself. Musa thanked him. He ate this half. He thanked him and he left. He went to the mountain. He said, God, one of the questions that I have today for you is to tell me what will happen to those two monks, the monk number 1 and monk number 2. God said to him, Musa, monk number 1 has been praying in this monastery for 70 years. But he's not going to see paradise. When he dies, he's not going to see paradise. Monk number 2, who shared the food with you, he's been praying here in this monastery for only 3 years. He's a freshman in this monastery. But I designated a huge space for him in paradise. Musa said, but that guy's praying 70 years. This one is a freshman, only 3 years. He said, yeah. Doesn't matter how many years they pray. It all depends on their soul, on their deeds. The first one was greedy, stingy, mean. He had no consideration for you or others. He had food, he didn't share it with you. His prayers is not going to help. He misunderstood the meaning of prayers. The second one, he understood the meaning of the prayers. He had only one apple. At the time of lunch, he was ready to share his food, cut it in a half and share it with you. He deserves my paradise. This is life, my friends. Some people misunderstand religion. Some people, when it comes to prayers, they don't miss any prayers. They don't miss fasting. They don't miss the Hajj. But when it comes to giving and helping and sharing, they are stingy. Others, they do little prayers. They don't have much time for, up and down, up and down, up and down every time I go to them. No, they have little time. They pray 5 times a day. They fast. But then, they have good character. They are thoughtful. God wants us to be thoughtful. This is why we pray. Prayers teaches us to be thoughtful, to be considerate, to be accommodating, to reach out, not just to live for myself, to live for mankind. But sometimes we miss the point. So here God says, وَاشْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ. Give thanks to God's blessing. إِن كُنْتُمْ إِيَّاهُ تَعْبُدُونَ. Let me conclude with 115. إِنَّمَا. He has only forbidden you the following things. He mentions 4 things. Why he used the word إِنَّمَا? He has only forbidden you. He can say he has forbidden you. Why he has only? Why did he use innama means only in the beginning of the sentence? No. He's using only here because the Jewish community, they made, which we're going to read in the Quran next time, inshallah. They made many things forbidden upon themselves, many types of food and drink. They created it themselves. They drew this limitation against themselves. It's not God, as we're going to read, inshallah, soon in the same chapter. God is telling them, no, listen, what is forbidden are only these things, not so many things that you made them forbidden. No. You made them forbidden, not God. God made only these things. What are they? Listen to the Quran. إِنَّمَا حَرَّمَ عَلَيْكُمْ. God made forbidden unto you al-maytata. What is mayta? Exactly. Mayta is the animal that has not been slaughtered according to the Islamic law, which is the carrion. Mayta. And waddam, the blood. Don't drink neither your blood nor people's blood. It's forbidden. Forbidden to drink the blood. Even if your teeth, your gum is bleeding, spell it out. Don't swallow it. Don't swallow it. إنما حرم عليكم الميتة والدم ولحم الخنزير. And then the flesh of the swine. Why the swine and pork is forbidden? Does anyone know? Huh? Similar to human meat? Dr. Zainab, you are trying to say something. Yes, go ahead. Hey. How can I explain duda sharitiyya? I need a doctor to explain that. She's a physician, by the way. So she says there is some type of worm in that meat. And then? Exactly. And it is bad for your health. And they proved scientifically that the khinzir, which is the pig, eats what? The waste. He's not honorable. This is why they say he eats like a pig.
But the majority of the people in the world, they're eating the khanzir.
Uh-huh.
They are healthy.
They are healthy.
Looks like.
What is the percentage of depression today? Healthy, physically maybe, but mentally they are not healthy.
It's also,
Mentally they are not healthy. Spiritually they are not healthy.
pig doesn't process the food completely. The food sits in its stomach.
Does not process the food completely.
4 hours,
Uh-huh.
goes out. There's not enough time
To process the food. Many reasons. There are many reasons. God does not forbid you from anything without a reason. There is a reason. Many other reasons. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Okay? So these things are forbidden, and then these three things, the carrion, the dead flesh, and the swine, the flesh of the swine, and the blood are forbidden for health reason, medical reason. The fourth one is forbidden for what? For a spiritual reason. وَمَا أُحِلَّ لِغَيْرِ اللَّهِ بِهِ. And the animal, that which has been offered to other than God. Other than God. There is a spiritual problem here. This animal is dedicated to their deities, to their idols, to someone else other than God. It has a spiritual defect. وَمَا أُهِلَّ لِغَيْرِ اللَّهِ بِهِ. But then here, this is the beauty of Islam. Islam says there are exceptions. You are stuck in a desert. Not in a desert. You are in a town, small village, where there is no halal meat, and the doctor says if you don't eat meat, you're going to suffer, you're going to hurt yourself. So this is iftirar, necessity. You cannot travel to another city. You cannot ask to ship you some. Let's say this is a hypothetical situation. You have no access, or you are stuck in a mountain, in a desert, and there is no source of food other than this dead animal. Can you eat here or you cannot? How much you can eat? A whole feast, mashallah? Huh? Just to survive. Because the law, the Islamic maxim, the law says, الضرورات تقدر بقدرها. Necessities and emergencies has to be measured according to itself, not more than that. You eat just to survive. You eat to survive. You don't eat with full stomach. You eat to survive. فَمَنِ اضْطُرَّ. Whoever is compelled by necessity, فَمَنِ اضْطُرَّ غَيْرَ بَاغٍ, but not without willfully disobeying God. His intention is not to disobey God. وَلَا عَادٍ, and he's not transgressing. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Truly God is forgiving and merciful. So sometimes it's a necessity. There is no other food except this. God does not say, I want you to die. No, you may eat. Okay? Or sometimes you are stuck in a country, in a place, that is the only food available. You have no access, let's say, no access for so many months. Sometimes you can stay without meat for several months. It's okay. But then it has to be really an emergency. And who says this is emergency or not? Who says that? You yourself. God has given you the understanding. You have to assess the situation. Can you stay away from meat forever? You know better. Ask your doctor. So we have to incorporate reason here to see whether this is really, because some people say it's a necessity because I passed by and it smells good. One day we were in Athens, 3 years ago. In downtown Athens, there are restaurants, and they do delicious kebab. Yani when you pass by and you smell and you see the kebab, they are barbecuing the kebab, you are about to faint and die. So I went there and I asked them, and the lady did not say forcefully halal. She said, yeah, halal. I didn't buy it. I said, let me go inside and ask the chef. In fact, the chef happened to be a Syrian guy in the background. So I said to him, is this kebab halal? He said, well, I'll say Bismillah and eat. So I knew it's not halal, alhamdulillah. He made it easy for me. When he said, just say Bismillah and eat, I knew it's not halal. But it was really hard to resist, believe me. Hard to resist this food and go and eat a vegetarian sandwich somewhere else. But you have to do it. Other people, they don't care. They say, we eat this time and we go to the masjid and say, Ya Sari' al-Rida, Ya Sari' al-Rida. We recite Dua Kumail and inshallah. No, here you have to put your values first. Allahumma aghfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat. Inshallah, we see you tomorrow, Salatul Jumu'ah. And don't forget that Muharram is starting on the eve of Muharram, inshallah, Tuesday, July 18th, we begin the majalis here, inshallah. We have 2 leaders coming from out of town. Sayyid Ja'far Al-Qazwini from Karbala for the lectures, and Sayyid Rida Mahdawi from Atlanta for the lamentation and the Aza. Inshallah, they are coming soon, and we begin, inshallah, Tuesday. We want you to come by Maghrib, inshallah. After the majalis, they begin immediately after Maghrib. And also one more announcement, we have the junior camp coming up on July 18th through 20th. Please send your children. August 18th through 20th, inshallah. So send your young ones to go there, interact and learn, inshallah. Allahumma aghfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat wal muslimina wal muslimat الأحياء منهم والأموات تابع اللهم بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات إنك مجيب الدعوات إنك غافر الخطيئات إنك على كل شيء قدير وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات ثواب الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل